Are carrots really okay for diabetes? What about peas, corn, or beets? We've always been told, eat your vegetables. But here's something most people don't realize. Not all vegetables support your blood sugar the way you think they do. In fact, some of the most common ones can quietly spike your glucose levels, especially as we get older. Today, we're going to clear up the confusion. You'll discover 7 of the best vegetables to keep your blood sugar steady, and 5 that are surprisingly tricky for people managing diabetes or pre-diabetes. No scare tactics, no trendy diets, just honest, practical advice you can start using right away. Now, let's be real. Nutrition advice can feel exhausting. One day, sweet potatoes are the golden child. The next day, they're too starchy. It's hard to keep up, and when your energy is already unpredictable, it can feel like nothing you do is working. That's why this video keeps things simple. We'll walk through exactly which vegetables help support insulin sensitivity, reduce blood sugar spikes, and fill you up without weighing you down. We'll even share quick ways to prepare each one, using ingredients you probably already have in your kitchen. To make this even more practical, I'll also share 2 real-life stories. One from Linda, a retired teacher in Ohio, who thought she was doing everything right, and another from Frank, a veteran who found that a few small food swaps made a big difference in his blood sugar and his energy. So whether you're managing your A1C, trying to avoid medication, or simply want to feel steadier after meals, this video is for you. And hey, before we jump in, if you care about eating smarter and staying independent as you age, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We share simple, senior-friendly health tips every single week, and we'd love to have you with us. All right, let's begin with the vegetables that truly support your blood sugar after 60. Starting with one you've likely got in your fridge right now. 1. Carrots. Let's start with a vegetable that's often misunderstood. Carrots. Now, because carrots taste a little sweet, many people assume they must be off-limits for anyone watching their blood sugar, but here's the truth. Carrots have a low glycemic index of just 39 when eaten raw. That's lower than brown rice, sweet potatoes, or even some fruits. They're considered a non-starchy vegetable, which means they digest more slowly, helping to prevent sharp blood sugar spikes after meals. And that's not all. Carrots are rich in beta-carotene, a powerful antioxidant your body converts into vitamin A. This supports your immune system, your vision, and even the health of your skin and mucous membranes, all of which become more important as we age. But the real power of carrots lies in their fiber, especially the type called soluble fiber. This helps slow the absorption of glucose into the bloodstream, which keeps your energy levels more stable throughout the day. In fact, a 2012 study published in Nutrition Journal found that diets high in non-starchy vegetables, like carrots, were directly associated with better glycemic control in people with type 2 diabetes. Not pills, not expensive supplements, just vegetables that work with your body, not against it. And here's the best part. They're incredibly easy to prepare. You don't need to cook them. You don't need a recipe book, and you certainly don't need to be a chef. Try this. Take 1 large carrot, peel it, and slice it into sticks. Pair it with 2 tablespoons of hummus, preferably one with no added sugar or artificial ingredients. That's it. You've got a crunchy, refreshing snack that supports your blood sugar, gives you a dose of healthy fats and fiber, and satisfies that mid-afternoon craving. This isn't about dieting. It's about giving your body what it needs to stay steady, clear-headed, and energized. And maybe, like Frank, one of the viewers we'll meet later, you'll notice that small choices like this add up over time. He didn't change everything overnight, but he did start with his snacks, and carrots with hummus. That became one of his go-to fixes, not just because it helped his blood sugar, but because it made him feel good. So if you've ever felt unsure about carrots, whether they're too sugary, too carby, or just not diabetic safe, rest easy. Raw carrots, in moderation, are not just safe, they're smart. And they're a simple, inexpensive way to get fiber, antioxidants, and real satisfaction on your plate. Next, let's explore a leafy green that's basically a nutritional powerhouse, and it works wonders for your insulin sensitivity. 2. Spinach. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful greens you can put on your plate, spinach. You might already think of spinach as a healthy food, but when it comes to blood sugar control after 60, this leafy green becomes even more valuable. Why? Because spinach is incredibly low in carbohydrates, yet packed with magnesium, a mineral that plays a major role in how your body handles insulin. You see, magnesium helps your cells respond more effectively to insulin, allowing glucose to move out of your blood and into your muscles, where it's used for energy. When magnesium levels are low, which is common as we age, insulin can't do its job properly. And that's when blood sugar starts creeping up, often without warning. In fact, a large review published in the Journal of Nutrition found that people who consumed higher amounts of magnesium-rich foods had a 15 to 23% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes over time. That's not from supplements or powders. That's just from food, real, accessible food like spinach. But here's the best part. Spinach isn't just healthy. It's also fast and easy to cook. You can throw it in a smoothie, add it to eggs, or simply saute it with garlic and olive oil for a warm, nourishing side dish. Here's one of the simplest ways to prepare it. Take 2 large handfuls of fresh spinach. In a pan, warm up a teaspoon of olive oil and add 2 cloves of minced garlic. Let that garlic sizzle for a few seconds, just until it's fragrant. Then toss in your spinach and stir gently until it wilts down, usually in under a minute. Finish it off with a light squeeze of lemon juice and a pinch of salt. That's it. You've got a low-carb, anti-inflammatory, blood sugar-friendly veggie dish, ready in under 5 minutes. And it's not just good for your glucose. Spinach also supports your heart, your digestion, your eyes, and even your bone strength, thanks to its mix of folate, potassium, and vitamin K. Think of it as nature's multivitamin, without the pill bottle. And if you're someone who doesn't love the texture of cooked greens, don't worry. You can also blend spinach into a smoothie with half a banana, unsweetened almond milk, and a scoop of protein powder for a balanced breakfast that keeps you full and stable. It's simple, it's flexible, and it's something you can make a habit without overthinking it. Spinach may not have the flash of a superfood trend, but it works, and the research backs it up. So the next time you're putting together a meal, ask yourself, can I add a handful of spinach to this? Because chances are, it's a yes. Coming up next, we'll look at a vegetable that supports insulin in a completely different way and helps reduce bloating too. 3. Asparagus. Next up is a vegetable that's often overlooked, but it may quietly be one of your best allies for stable blood sugar, asparagus. Now, most people think of asparagus as a spring vegetable, maybe something they eat once or twice a year with a holiday meal. But this crisp green stalk is actually a nutritional powerhouse, especially if you're trying to improve insulin sensitivity and reduce bloating. Let's start with what makes it special. Asparagus is naturally low in carbohydrates, yet high in soluble fiber, which helps slow the digestion of sugars and smooths out those blood sugar peaks and crashes. It also acts as a natural diuretic, which means it helps your body gently eliminate excess water and sodium, supporting your kidneys and reducing blood pressure at the same time. But what really sets asparagus apart is a mineral that doesn't get talked about enough: chromium. Chromium is essential for glucose metabolism. It works like a helper that makes insulin more efficient at moving sugar out of your bloodstream and into your cells. And while you don't need much of it, many older adults don't get enough from their diet. Interestingly, a 2011 study published in the British Journal of Nutrition found that asparagus extract improved insulin sensitivity in animal models, especially in cases of diet-induced diabetes. Now, while more research in humans is needed, these early results are promising, and they align with what many dietitians have observed. Asparagus is one of those foods that consistently supports better metabolic function. And the good news, it's incredibly easy to prepare. No boiling, no sauces, no complicated ingredients. Here's how to make it delicious. Take a bunch of fresh asparagus and trim off the woody ends. Lay the stalks on a baking sheet and drizzle with olive oil, just enough to coat them lightly. Sprinkle a little sea salt and add a few squeezes of fresh lemon juice. Then, roast at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 to 12 minutes until they're just tender and slightly golden. That's it. Roasting brings out a natural sweetness in asparagus without adding sugar, and the olive oil helps your body absorb the fat-soluble vitamins in the vegetable, like vitamin K and A. You can serve it as a side with grilled chicken, slice it into an omelette, or even chop leftovers into a salad the next day. It's elegant, it's nutrient-dense, and it leaves you feeling light rather than weighed down or bloated after a meal. And for older adults especially, those little differences matter. A light, satisfying side dish that doesn't spike your glucose but still leaves you feeling nourished, that's a win. So if asparagus hasn't been a regular part of your routine, maybe it's time to give it a second look, because your blood sugar and your kidneys might just thank you. Coming up next, we'll explore a vegetable that adds bold flavor to any dish and may also help reduce inflammation and support insulin balance. 4. Onions. Let's talk about a vegetable that's in nearly every kitchen, but rarely gets credit for its blood sugar benefits. Onions. Yes, onions. Whether they're yellow, red, white, or sweet, these humble bulbs do more than just add flavor to your meals. They're packed with a powerful plant compound called quercetin, a natural antioxidant that's been shown to support insulin sensitivity and reduce inflammation. Two big concerns for anyone managing diabetes or prediabetes. Quercetin helps protect your cells from oxidative stress and may reduce insulin resistance, the condition where your body stops responding properly to insulin signals. In a clinical trial published in Environmental Health Insights 2010, researchers gave onion extract to people with both type 1 and type 2 diabetes. The result? A significant reduction in fasting blood glucose levels, especially in those with type 2. And we're not talking about a pharmaceutical pill or some expensive supplement. We're talking about a vegetable you're probably already using. You just didn't know how good it was for you. And here's the best part. Onions are incredibly easy to work into your meals, and they actually make other healthy foods taste better. Here's a simple way to turn them into a blood sugar-friendly staple. Slice one medium onion thinly. In a skillet, Heat up a teaspoon of olive oil over medium heat. Toss in the onions and cook them slowly, stirring occasionally for about 8 to 10 minutes until they turn soft, golden, and lightly caramelized. You can season with a pinch of salt and black pepper or a dash of turmeric for added anti-inflammatory power. This soft, savory onion base can be used in veggie stir-fries as a topping for roasted sweet potatoes or mixed into lentils, eggs, or brown rice bowls. It brings out deep flavor, and it gives your meal a slow digesting foundation that won't spike your glucose like refined sauces or condiments might. And if raw onions upset your stomach, no worries. Cooked onions are much gentler on digestion while still retaining many of their health benefits. So the next time you're cooking, don't skip the onions. They're more than just a flavor booster. They're functional food that supports your metabolism and your heart at the same time. Quick check-in. Has any veggie surprised you so far? Are you already cooking with onions, or will this be something new for you? Drop a comment below. We love hearing what's happening in your kitchen. Up next, we'll take a look at a leafy vegetable that's inexpensive, crunchy, and great for your gut, and it's probably already sitting in your fridge. 5. Cabbage. Now let's talk about a vegetable that's simple, affordable, and quietly powerful when it comes to blood sugar control. Cabbage, often seen as just a side dish or a filler in soups, cabbage is actually one of the most underrated superfoods for seniors looking to stabilize glucose levels and improve gut health. Here's why. Cabbage is extremely low on the glycemic load scale, which means it has very little impact on blood sugar, even when eaten in larger portions. At the same time, it's high in dietary fiber, which supports slow digestion, helps you feel full longer, and prevents those energy crashes that come after carb-heavy meals. But there's more going on under the surface. Cabbage, especially the red or purple variety, is rich in a class of antioxidants called anthocyanins. These compounds help reduce inflammation and oxidative stress, two of the underlying causes of insulin resistance. In fact, a study published in Diabetology Metabolic Syndrome found that red cabbage extract helped regulate blood glucose levels and reduce oxidative damage in diabetic animal models. That means cabbage isn't just neutral, it's actively working with your body to support healthier metabolism and long-term glucose control. And the great news? It's versatile, refreshing, and doesn't require a stove to prepare. Here's a quick and easy way to make cabbage part of your daily routine. Take 1 cup of shredded green or red cabbage, or a mix of both. Add 1 teaspoon of olive oil and 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. Toss everything together with a pinch of salt and black pepper. Let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes to soften slightly and absorb the flavors. That's it. Your simple cabbage slaw is ready. You can enjoy it alongside grilled chicken, fish, or even as a topping on a slice of whole grain toast with hummus or avocado. It's crunchy, it's tangy, and it's packed with fiber and antioxidants, all without any added sugars or starches. And if you've ever struggled with digestion or bloating, cabbage can also help. Its natural prebiotics feed the good bacteria in your gut, creating a healthier digestive environment, which, as you'll hear more about in future videos, plays a major role in blood sugar regulation. Sometimes, the best solutions are the simplest. Cabbage doesn't need a label like keto or detox to prove its value. It's been quietly supporting healthy aging for centuries. So if you're looking for a low-cost, high-impact vegetable to add to your plate this week, this is it. Coming up next, we'll look at a Southeast Asian herb that's not only culturally beloved, but may also have surprising anti-diabetic properties, especially when eaten fresh. 6. Fish mint. Next up is a leafy herb that might not be in every American kitchen, but it's been used in traditional medicine for centuries across parts of Asia. It's called fish mint, a plant with heart-shaped leaves and a distinctive, slightly peppery flavor. Now, the name can be a little misleading. It doesn't taste like fish, but this herb has long been used to support inflammation, digestion, and what traditional practitioners often refer to as internal cleansing. And interestingly, modern science is starting to back up some of these traditional beliefs. In a study published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology, 2009, researchers found that fish mint extract demonstrated hypoglycemic activity, meaning it helped lower blood sugar levels in lab models. While more research is needed in people, this is a promising sign that certain plant compounds in fish mint could support blood sugar regulation over time. But beyond the science, what makes this herb truly valuable is how light and refreshing it is. It's naturally low in carbs, rich in polyphenols, and hydrating, making it a smart choice for older adults managing blood sugar and digestion. And it's incredibly easy to use. Here's a simple, clean way to enjoy it as part of a meal. Start with a small handful of washed fish mint leaves. Toss them with sliced cucumber, a few torn leaves of fresh mint or basil, and a light splash of olive oil and fresh lime juice. Top with a pinch of salt. That's it. This makes a vibrant raw salad that pairs well with grilled chicken, fish, tofu, or simply on its own as a refreshing side. For many people, trying herbs like fish mint is a new experience, and that's okay. New foods can feel unfamiliar at first, but sometimes they turn out to be just what your body needed. Herbs like this offer a gentle way to explore variety without relying on sugars, starches, or processed dressings. They're flavorful, functional, and deeply hydrating, and because fish mint is so light on the digestive system, it's a great choice during warmer months or if you're trying to reduce heaviness in your meals. If your local grocery store doesn't carry it, check international markets or specialty produce stores. It's becoming more available across the US. Coming up next, we'll look at a vegetable that's earned a big reputation for managing blood sugar, but it also comes with a strong, bitter bite. Let's talk about bitter melon. 7. Bitter melon. Now let's talk about a vegetable with one of the boldest flavors and some of the most promising research behind it for blood sugar support. Bitter melon. It's not a common staple in most Western diets, but this knobby, green gourd has been used in traditional cooking and herbal medicine across Asia and the Caribbean for generations. And while its taste can be, well, intense, its potential benefits are just as strong. What makes bitter melon unique is its active compounds. Two of the most studied are charantin and polypeptide P. Both have been shown to have glucose-lowering effects in various studies. In fact, a clinical trial published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology, 2004, found that bitter melon extract significantly reduced blood glucose levels in individuals with type 2 diabetes. These compounds appear to act in a way that mimics insulin, helping to usher sugar out of the bloodstream and into your cells, where it can be used for energy. Now, let's be clear. Bitter melon isn't a cure, but for many people looking to manage their blood sugar naturally, especially alongside medication and lifestyle changes, it can be a helpful addition. So how do you eat it? Here's one simple, nourishing way to prepare it. Start by slicing the bitter melon into thick rings and scooping out the seeds. Stuff the center of each ring with a mix of lean ground turkey, minced onion, and a pinch of black pepper. Simmer the stuffed rings gently in low-sodium vegetable or chicken broth for about 20 to 25 minutes until the melon softens and the flavors blend. The result is a warming, comforting soup that delivers fiber, protein, and plant compounds that support blood sugar stability without added starches or sugar. And if the bitterness is too strong at first, here's a tip. Boil the melon rings for just a couple of minutes before stuffing and simmering. That helps tone down the sharpness, making the flavor more balanced. This is one of those dishes that may take a little getting used to, but many people who stick with it report feeling more steady after meals, less bloated, and more in control of their appetite. And remember, bitter foods in general often help stimulate digestion and balance blood sugar, a concept that's been supported by both traditional medicine and emerging nutrition science. Have you ever tried bitter melon before? It's one of those love it or learn to love it vegetables. Let us know in the comments if you've cooked with it, or if you're open to giving it a try after hearing this. Before we move on, I want to share a quick story about someone this message really clicked for. Linda, a 68-year-old retired schoolteacher living just outside of Dayton, Ohio. Linda had always thought she was doing the right things. She was eating more vegetables, skipping dessert, watching her portions. But her A1C wasn't budging. It hovered around 7.4 for over a year, and her doctor was starting to talk about increasing her medications. She felt discouraged, confused. She was trying, but nothing seemed to help. Then one afternoon, her daughter, who happens to be a registered board dietitian, came over to take a closer look at what was really going on in the kitchen. It turns out Linda's version of the healthy vegetables included things like canned corn, green peas, and mashed potatoes. Tasty, sure. But for someone sensitive to carbs and starches, these choices were working against her, even though they sounded healthy on paper, so they made just a few simple changes. They swapped the corn for steamed cabbage, the peas for garlic sautéed spinach, and the potatoes for roasted carrots with a little olive oil. Nothing extreme. No cutting out entire food groups. Just gentle, thoughtful swaps using the kinds of vegetables we've talked about in this video. And here's what happened. In just 4 months, Linda's A1C dropped from 7.4 to 6.6. Her energy improved, her cravings stabilized, and most importantly, she felt in control again. Sometimes it's not about doing more, it's about doing things slightly differently, and those little shifts can make a big impact. 1. White potatoes. Let's begin this section with a vegetable that's a comfort food staple for many of us. White potatoes. Whether they're mashed, baked, fried, or turned into hash browns, white potatoes have been a beloved part of American meals for generations. They're familiar, they're filling, and they're often thought of as healthy, especially when served without butter or gravy. But here's where it gets a little tricky for those of us trying to manage blood sugar. White potatoes have a high glycemic index, especially when they're baked or boiled and eaten on their own. That means they break down quickly in the digestive system and can cause a rapid spike in blood glucose, similar to white bread or sugary snacks. The reason lies in their starch content. Potatoes are mostly made up of rapidly digestible starch, which gets converted into glucose almost immediately after you eat it. Now, that doesn't mean you can never eat potatoes again. It simply means they need to be enjoyed in moderation and paired wisely, especially after the age of 60, when insulin sensitivity naturally declines and your body processes carbohydrates differently than it did in your 30s or 40s. So what's the smarter way to include white potatoes without throwing your blood sugar off track? First, keep your portion size small. Think about the size of your fist. That's usually around one small baked potato, or half of a large one. Next, never eat white potatoes alone. Pair them with high-fiber vegetables, healthy fats, or lean proteins. For example, instead of a plain baked potato, try topping it with sautéed spinach and a scoop of cottage cheese or grilled salmon. This slows digestion and helps keep your blood sugar more stable. You can also try eating potatoes that have been cooked and cooled, like in a potato salad with olive oil and herbs. Cooling changes the structure of some of the starch, turning it into what's called resistant starch. This type of starch digests more slowly and behaves more like fiber in the body, which can be gentler on your blood sugar. And finally, think about alternatives. Mashed cauliflower or roasted turnips can give you that warm, starchy comfort without the same glucose spike. But again, this is not about guilt. It's about knowing how different foods affect your body and making small, smart shifts that protect your energy and long-term health. So if potatoes are a part of your weekly routine, you don't have to give them up. Just shift the way you prepare and pair them. Because with the right strategy, even a high GI food like white potatoes can fit into a balanced, blood sugar-friendly lifestyle. Next, we'll take a closer look at another starchy vegetable that often surprises people with its sugar load, corn. Let's explore that next. 2. Corn. Let's move on to another vegetable that's often thought of as a summer classic, corn. It shows up at barbecues, in casseroles, and on dinner plates all across the country. It's sweet, it's satisfying, and it's one of the most popular vegetables in the United States. But here's what many people don't realize. Corn is actually classified as a starchy vegetable. That means it behaves more like a carbohydrate than a leafy green when it comes to blood sugar. Corn contains both natural sugar and a significant amount of starch. So even though it's a vegetable, it can cause a moderate to sharp rise in blood glucose, especially when eaten on its own or in large portions. Now, this doesn't mean you have to banish corn from your plate. It simply means it's worth being mindful about how much and how often you enjoy it, especially if you're working to lower your A1C or prevent spikes after meals. So let's talk about how to make corn work for you rather than against you. First, portion matters. One small ear of corn, or about half a cup of cooked kernels, is usually enough to enjoy the flavor without overloading your system with starch. Second, preparation makes a difference. Grilled corn on the cob, with a light brush of olive oil or a sprinkle of herbs, is a much better choice than creamed corn, corn pudding, or sweetened, canned varieties. When you keep it simple and whole, corn offers valuable nutrients like B vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants like lutein, which support eye health. But most importantly, pairing is the key. Corn should never be the main component of your meal if you're managing blood sugar. Instead, balance it with lean protein, like grilled chicken or baked fish, and include non-starchy vegetables like spinach, green beans, or a cabbage slaw on the side. This combination helps slow down digestion, blunt the glucose response, and keep your energy more stable after eating. You can also toss a small handful of corn into a fiber-rich salad or black bean bowl. When it's used as a garnish or accent, rather than the star of the plate, corn can still add sweetness and texture without throwing off your entire meal. And here's one more tip. Avoid pairing corn with other high-carb foods like bread, rice, or potatoes in the same sitting. It adds up quickly and can lead to a post-meal crash that leaves you feeling sluggish or irritable. So yes, corn can still be part of your diet, but like many foods, it's all about how you use it. In small portions, grilled and paired with protein and fiber, corn can fit into a thoughtful, blood sugar-friendly lifestyle without giving up flavor or tradition. Coming up next, we'll talk about a vegetable that's packed with vitamins but might surprise you with how fast it can raise your blood sugar if you're not careful. Let's take a closer look at pumpkin. 3. Pumpkin. Let's talk about a vegetable that often shows up around the holidays but might be causing unexpected blood sugar spikes year-round. Pumpkin. Now, this one can be confusing. Pumpkin is often labeled as a superfood, and it's true that it's rich in vitamin A, potassium, fiber, and antioxidants. Its vibrant orange color comes from beta-carotene, which supports immune health, vision, and cell repair. So yes, pumpkin has a lot to offer. But there's a catch. Pumpkin is also naturally high in sugar and starch, especially when it's cooked down or pureed. When pumpkin is broken down into a smooth form, like in soups, pie fillings, or canned puree, it loses a lot of the fiber structure that helps slow down digestion. That means the sugars and starches enter the bloodstream more quickly, which can lead to a noticeable blood sugar spike, particularly if you're eating it without protein or fat. So while pumpkin is technically a vegetable, it behaves more like a carbohydrate in the body, similar to sweet potatoes or even some grains. But this doesn't mean you have to skip it entirely. Here are a few simple ways to enjoy pumpkin wisely. First, skip the puree when you can. Instead, roast fresh pumpkin in chunks. Cut it into cubes, drizzle lightly with olive oil, and roast it in the oven until golden and tender. This keeps more of the natural fiber intact, which slows down digestion and helps your blood sugar stay more stable. Second, always pair pumpkin with healthy fat or protein. For example, roasted pumpkin alongside grilled chicken or tossed into a salad with walnuts and feta cheese creates a balanced meal that won't send your glucose soaring. Third, be cautious with things like pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin muffins, or canned pumpkin pie filling. These often contain added sugars, syrups, or refined flours, turning a nutrient-dense vegetable into a hidden sugar bomb. If you enjoy making soup, try blending roasted pumpkin with low-sodium broth, herbs, and a splash of full-fat coconut milk for creaminess. The fat helps slow down absorption and makes the dish more blood sugar friendly. And just like with corn and potatoes, portion control is key. A small serving, about half a cup of roasted chunks, can be plenty to enjoy the flavor without overloading your system. Pumpkin is a great seasonal food. It can nourish your body, comfort your palate, and connect you to memories and traditions. You just have to be mindful of how it's prepared and what it's paired with. Coming up next, we'll explore a little green vegetable that seems innocent, but may be carrying more carbs than you think. Let's take a closer look at green peas. 4. Green peas. Let's turn to a vegetable that often gets grouped with greens, but behaves quite differently in the body. Green peas. They're small, bright, and often served alongside carrots or mashed potatoes. Many people think of them as a light, healthy vegetable. But nutritionally, green peas are closer to starchy foods than leafy greens. That's because peas are actually a legume, like lentils or chickpeas. They're higher in both carbohydrates and plant-based protein, which makes them more filling but also more impactful on your blood sugar. The glycemic index of green peas is considered moderate, not extremely high, but high enough that large portions can lead to a gradual but noticeable glucose rise, especially if you're not pairing them with enough fiber or fat, and portion size is where most people get tripped up. A full cup of peas might seem small, but it can contain over 20 grams of carbs, which is similar to a small serving of rice. Now, that doesn't mean peas are bad. In fact, they have several great things going for them. Green peas are a good source of vitamin C, vitamin K, fiber, and plant protein. They can support digestion, help with satiety, and provide a gentler alternative to refined grains when used strategically. So how do you enjoy green peas without sending your blood sugar out of balance? The key is moderation and pairing. Try keeping your serving to about a third to a half cup, and make sure to combine them with a lean protein, such as grilled fish, chicken, or even eggs. For example, a plate of roasted chicken with a side of peas and sautéed spinach will likely affect your blood sugar very differently than a plate of just peas and mashed potatoes. Another great option is to use peas in mixed dishes, where they complement rather than dominate the meal. Toss a small handful into a vegetable stir-fry, add them to a lentil soup, or mix them into a quinoa bowl for texture and color without letting them be the main event. Also, avoid creamed peas or peas served in heavy, starchy sauces. These combinations often stack up the carbs and fat in a way that overwhelms your system, especially if you're already insulin resistant. Green peas are nutrient-dense, convenient, and inexpensive, and when used wisely, they can absolutely be part of a blood sugar-friendly lifestyle. The goal here isn't to label foods as good or bad, it's to understand how they function in your body so you can make choices that keep you feeling energized and balanced. Coming up next, we'll finish this section with a vegetable that's beautiful, earthy, and full of antioxidants, but also naturally sweet. Let's take a closer look at beets. 5. Beets. Let's close out this section with a vegetable that's vibrant, earthy, and loaded with antioxidants. Beets. They're beautiful on the plate, rich in nutrients, and often praised for their heart health benefits. And that praise is well earned. Beets are high in folate, potassium, fiber, and plant compounds called beta-alanes, which help reduce inflammation and support blood vessel function. They've even been shown to support circulation and blood pressure, two areas that matter a lot as we age. But there's something else that makes beets stand out. They're naturally sweet. This natural sugar content is what gives beets their slightly fruity taste, and also what can cause blood sugar levels to rise more than other non-starchy vegetables, especially when eaten in large portions. Now, to be clear, beets are not a bad choice. They offer more health benefits than most starchy vegetables. But if you're managing prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, it's important to watch portion size and balance them within the overall meal. For example, one small beet, roasted or boiled, can fit nicely into a balanced lunch, but a full cup of beet puree, beet juice, or pickled beets with added sugar, that's when it starts to impact your glucose more significantly. So how can you enjoy beets without worry? One great option is to roast them in chunks, which helps preserve the fiber. Toss the roasted beets with a handful of walnuts or a few slices of avocado. The healthy fat helps slow digestion, reducing the glycemic impact. This makes a perfect side dish, something you can add to a leafy salad, enjoy alongside grilled fish, or combine with lentils and herbs for a light, satisfying lunch. If you're using canned or pickled beets, read the label carefully. Many store-bought versions contain added sugar, which can undermine the benefits. Look for versions with no added sweeteners, or simply make your own using vinegar, herbs, and olive oil. Beets can also be grated raw into a salad for crunch and color. Just keep the portions small and enjoy them as part of a meal that includes protein and fiber. At the end of the day, beets can absolutely be part of a healthy, senior-friendly diet, as long as they're used in moderation and combined with the right foods. So if you love beets, don't feel like you have to give them up. Just be mindful of how much and what they're paired with. Because when you treat even sweet vegetables with a little strategy, you give your body the best chance to feel energized, nourished, and in control. Now that we've covered the 5 vegetables to be a bit more cautious with, let's take a moment to bring everything together and revisit the key takeaways that can help you build smarter, more balanced meals every day. Before we wrap up, I want to share one more story. This one's about Frank, a 72-year-old retiree living in California. At his last checkup, Frank was told he was pre-diabetic. His fasting glucose was rising, and his doctor gave him a clear message: try medication, or try changing what's on your plate. Frank didn't jump to pills right away. He wanted to see if his food choices alone could make a difference. And his doctor's first advice: start with your vegetables. So Frank made just a few smart adjustments. He stopped boiling corn and started roasting asparagus instead. He swapped out green peas for a crunchy cabbage slaw and paired it with grilled fish a few nights a week. No major overhaul, no extreme rules, just small, steady upgrades. And in just 8 weeks, Frank felt a difference. He was less sluggish after meals, more clear-headed. And when he returned to his doctor, his fasting blood sugar had dropped by 15 points. Stories like Frank's remind us, you don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. A few intentional swaps can quietly reshape your health from the inside out. Before we finish, let's take a moment to review what we've covered. We talked about 7 powerful vegetables that can help you support better blood sugar. Naturally, carrots, spinach, asparagus, onions, cabbage, fish mint, and bitter melon. These are your blood sugar allies, nutrient-dense, low glycemic, and easy to build into everyday meals. And then we looked at 5 vegetables that are still healthy in their own way, but may require a bit more caution, especially if you're sensitive to blood sugar swings. White potatoes, corn, pumpkin, green peas, and beets. All of them can still have a place on your plate. It's just about being mindful of portions, preparing them wisely, and pairing them with fiber, protein, or healthy fats. Because at the end of the day, you don't need to fear food. You just need to understand how different foods affect your body. And when you do that, when you make those small, thoughtful swaps, you start to notice the difference. You feel more energized, more stable, less foggy after meals, more confident in your choices, without feeling restricted. It doesn't take perfection, just a little bit of awareness and a willingness to try one thing at a time. So here's your invitation. Pick one recipe from today's video. Just one. Try roasting carrots instead of boiling potatoes, or sautéing spinach instead of opening a can of corn. Swap something and see how your body responds. And if something you heard today was helpful, let us know. Drop a comment and tell us what swap you're going to try this week. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone you care about. This community is growing because of you, and we're here to support your journey towards steady energy, healthier meals, and a life that feels just a little bit easier, one choice at a time. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you in the next video.